Welcome back to the Business Immigration Benchmark. I'm your host, Laura Blaneres. Today, I'm excited to be chatting with Sydney Bridger, WR Immigration's new community manager. But before she hops on to chat about her background and what the role of community manager is here at WR Immigration, I want to set the stage to give our listeners kind of an inside scoop onto why we brought Sydney on board here at WR Immigration. So over the past 6 months of doing this podcast, my perspective on the global mobility industry has really broadened beyond the scope of supporting my clients and the challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis. This, in combination with WR rolling out and facilitating a program of empirical peer-to-peer benchmarking for immigration and global mobility professionals. I've been quite involved in developing this program, which has given me deeper insights and focus on the HR challenges and areas of focus for HR and global mobility teams in 2024. We've also received fantastic feedback from our clients and other folks in the industry on how they're using the benchmarking data for insights into developing their program and reassessing some of their policies and strategies. The feedback includes how much they appreciate the data from verified global mobility and immigration professionals. So a few months ago, we decided to double down on this program and really invest in making the data and insights increasingly valuable for our clients and other professionals in the industry. That started with launching the Immigration Benchmarking Collective group on LinkedIn, which now boasts over 100 HR and global mobility members. But with that initiative, we also recognize the need to have someone facilitate a conversation within that community and someone who's been in the shoes of the community members in the immigration specialist role. And that's why we brought Sydney on board to lead those conversations and cultivate the community on LinkedIn. And without further ado, Sydney will join us to tell us more about her background and her role as a community manager. So Sydney, we were just chatting before we started recording how you're going to lend your hand to cultivating community within the HR global mobility space. And tell me so far how it's going this summer. And I hear you're a gardener, so I'm curious to know how your personal gardening efforts are going.
First off, thank you so much for having me, Laura. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you for asking about my garden experience. I will just say it's been an experience. My fiance and I, we recently moved to Roswell, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta, about 20 minutes or so. And I've always had plants. And especially during COVID, I kind of picked up the hobby just for something to do. I found that nature and plants just kind of grounds me and gives me more joy in my life. But I'm struggling so hard with the red Georgia clay outside because you can't dig anything. It's stuck basically when you put the shovel into the ground. And then two, we had deer who basically just eat everything. They're super cute, but my hydrangeas are no longer with us. So I'm really trying to figure out any sort of gardening tips. So if you have any, please let me know. But slowly but surely I'll get there.
I've never faced clay and deer as challenges, but I'm sure you'll figure some clever workarounds there. But I am interested to understand, more about your new role with WR. But before that, can you tell us about your background in the space and your experience with global mobility and immigration?
Most definitely. I am super excited to be here. I will say my career journey hasn't been linear whatsoever. I graduated from the University of Georgia, go Dogs. If you're ever in Athens, let me know. But my degree was in advertising, so I have a marketing background. I started my career at a small startup of about 40 people. It was a navigated brain stimulation technology company. So I learned quite a lot, and I really learned about giving back to others because the technology was really about helping folks who had gone through a stroke. So I kind of started my career as into, okay, I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but let's just try this out. From there, I actually started as an administrative assistant. I had no idea what consulting was. I walked into this big, shiny building in Atlanta. I was like, oh, this is great. I love it. So I did that for about a year, but I really got to know the business and kind of how case teams operate, which was really fulfilling in itself. And kind of just making new connections and putting myself out there. From there, I joined the learning and development team where I essentially supported consulting staff across North America. I was kind of their go to person when they started at the firm. So it was really, really fulfilling to kind of see their careers grow and then continue to grow and develop. I did that for about 4 years or so. COVID hit, as we all know. And then I reconnected with a former colleague of mine who asked me to join the North America immigration team. And I was like, are you sure? I don't know much about immigration. I have a learning and development and marketing background. I don't know if you want me to do this. But she's like, no, we would love to have you. And for me, I've been very passionate about human resources. That's kind of, with the marketing event planning background, it's like, okay, let's challenge myself. I know I want to give back to others. I know I'm passionate about the community. Let's see what I can do. So I was the senior immigration specialist for about 4 years before coming to WR Immigration. I loved it. It was really, really awesome to not only give back to people professionally, but personally. I cherish my time there. But yeah, my career itself isn't linear whatsoever, but I kind of love it that way because it kind of led me to where I'm supposed to be.
That's amazing. That's so interesting. I have two off the script questions from that to follow up.
Yeah.
The first is I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn who's very interested in going into an in-house role. They don't have an employment-based background, and it sounds like neither did you. So what was it like kind of learning on the job? Like surely you had the business side down, but what was it like learning employment-based immigration on the job?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be fully transparent, it's overwhelming at first, right? There's a lot that goes into US immigration law on the employment side. I will say I had a super supportive team, and I have found within the global mobility community that, people are always willing to help. I had a million questions, and I still continue to have questions because everything's changing all the time, it seems.
Sure.
But it was a learning curve, but I managed to eventually grow out of that learning curve to feel more confident and, be able to be that point person. So yeah, overwhelming, but it was a good overwhelming to kind of challenge myself and grow. If you are interested in getting into the immigration field, I highly suggest it. It's wonderful. It's been really fulfilling and I still keep in touch with a lot of the foreign nationals through LinkedIn or, personal email. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, I'm so happy we're talking about this because my advice to the individual that reached out to me was if you don't have employment-based immigration experience, to go to a law firm, train up as a paralegal, and move into the in-house role that way. But your experience is if you work your way and know the business side of things, you can end up in global mobility as well. So cool. I hadn't thought of that. And here we are. You're answering some questions.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we're reaching some listeners who, if they're interested in getting into in-house immigration, Sydney's got a winding, like you said, career path, but wound up there through the sort of internal pathway. Cool. Okay, so now you're here at WR Immigration, and I know you're only a couple of weeks into your role as a community manager, which is unique in industry. We know that WR is kind of the first getting into what a community manager is. Can you help us understand what this role will look like, what you've been doing, what your plans are?
Yes, most definitely. First, I'm super excited because I think it's the first type of role that I've seen in the industry. So when I applied, I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect for me. So in my role as community manager, it's really supposed to be a fluid role, right? It's going to be ever evolving based on clients' needs and benchmarking data from our community members. My job is to really help understand, what's going well, what's not going well. How can we better the global mobility community? And I can do that through connecting with global mobility professionals, people of the industry. And through all of that, it's really to just listen. I want to be a listening ear to other members in the community to see, how do we make this better? What can we do? What frustrations are you going through? Are you slammed every day? Are you working till 10 p.m.? How do we fix this? So I definitely know the struggles. Anything I can do to kind of give back is what I'm here for. And then I also just want to be able to, provide networking opportunities for people. I think that's huge because I had one look at my immigration program, right? Stepping back from that, I'm like, okay, there's so many other programs. There's so many other different sizes. There's so many different levels of tenure or, whatever that may look like. it could give people more opportunity to be like, okay, we did our green card policy this way. How would you do it at your firm, or et cetera? And yeah, and just to really just give opportunities to the community in general to kind of to have better discussion, really, and to learn from others.
Okay, wow. Sounds like you've got a lot of ambitious goals with being almost like a resource for global mobility and immigration professionals in general. And then I'm also hearing kind of creating tools or resources or connecting them with tools, resources, and each other. So pretty cool stuff. Selfishly, I'm so excited you're here and happy you've joined the team because I'm hoping that you'll be bringing your resources, your tools, your benchmarking insights onto the podcast to share with listeners. And I could pick your brain on trends that you're seeing within the industry and the folks that you're talking with. Have you been able to gain any insights? I know this is kind of an ambitious thing since you just started, but have you gleaned any gems since your start date a few weeks ago?
Yes, I'm super excited about it, actually. I just started last week, but I've had the opportunity to go through data that we've collected over the past 6 months from 100 and plus or so immigration and global mobility professionals across our community. And I picked up the 8 most common pain points that, professionals have in the industry. And so my LinkedIn series is really to highlight what each of those pain points are, and it'll be a countdown essentially to the number one most common pain point. So I'm super excited. So if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please feel free to do so. Connect with me. You can send me a DM as well. I would love that, but super excited to kind of share that with you all.
Well, thanks for hopping on our podcast today. And I'm excited to continue the conversation, dig deeper into these common pain points you're learning and other insights you'll be gathering from your conversations within the industry. Before we wrap here today, is LinkedIn the best place for any listeners who want to get a hold of you to get in touch?
Most definitely. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Sydney Bridger is my name, and you can DM me or email me directly, also sbridger@wolfstorff.com. And I'm super available.
Fantastic, Sydney. Thanks for hopping on the Business Immigration Benchmark. We'll be chatting with you in the weeks to come.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Laura.